Well, folks, it's fair to say we're struggling a little bit as the season draws towards a close. I don't think we've recovered from the heartbreak of Watford, and we've even, in recent games, given Mick Powell a prolonged period of rest on the bench. We've not dropped him, he's having a prolonged rest. Hello and welcome to part 43 of It's Coming Home. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have two away games in the league. We're away against Gateshead and against Harrogate. Since you were last with me, we have struggled. We've not won in our last three games. We've only won one in our last five. We've only won two in our last, 10, 11 games in all competitions. Form is proving to be a little bit of a struggle. And this is what the league table looks like as a result. Remember, this is still absolutely fine as per pre-season the preview. The media are expecting 8th, so just outside the playoffs. So we are slightly below. And the board, I think we're looking for mid-table. If it turns out they're looking for playoffs, I've got an issue. Let's have a look. Competition performance, board, we're looking for mid-table. Yeah, board are looking for mid-table, so we're exceeding the expectations of the board. So it's only a disappointing season in the context of how the last three seasons have been when we did back-to-back-to-back. This is our season of consolidation. And I think it's actually going to be, we're going to have face some tough truths over the coming summer, that this division is going to be a very difficult one to get out of as a part-time team around lots of full-time teams. I don't know if there's a way I imagine our wage budget is probably fairly competitive. I actually haven't had a look. How do you look at that? Is that this one? Wage budgets is in here somewhere, isn't it? So salary per annum. Oh, actually, we're not even competitive on salaries. So we're competing against teams spending 2.5, 2 million, nearly 3 million, £1.5 million a year on salaries, while we're spending 447,000 on salaries. We have got money to spend, but we can't attract the players to be able to spend it. And it's because we're part-time. If we have a look at the teams above us in the league, I'm going to assume they're mostly full-time. How do we do that? Does it say on here? Yeah, professional. So Swindon are professional. Can we just go down? No, that would be too much to ask that we could just quickly slip through all of them. But I assume, Boreham Wood might be semi-pro. No, they're professional as well. All these former Football League clubs are going to be professional. Woking, maybe? No, they're professional. So we're the highest placed semi-pro team in the division. And I imagine there's not many other all of these are former league clubs or rich clubs. Braintree might be semi-pro. So I guess Braintree are our next challengers as a semi-pro team. But we're a semi-pro team in a division of professional teams. So not only are we struggling on salary to attract players, but we're also struggling for fitness, for training, for player development stuff. I think this has to be the summer where we try and go pro. But we did try and go pro last summer. And Serenek knew who turned us down on the basis that we didn't have enough money. And we've now got less money now than we had then. So I think we might have caught ourselves in a situation where we need to go professional to close that huge gap between where we are now and where Swindon are, as an example. But until we've got promoted and got that sweet, sweet Football League money, we can't afford to. I think we might be in this division for a little while. But let's play today's games. You never know, we might sneak into the playoffs still, get promoted, and none of it's an issue. But this is the team we're putting out there. And as I mentioned in the intro, we're resting Mick Powell. We're also resting Connor Stanley today. So our two star players, both sitting on the bench, mainly because they're not performing. They're doing all right over the course of the season, but in recent matches, not really performing. Neither is Humphreys, so he's having a rest as well. And we're trying to find a team that can claw us out of this horrible period of form that we're in. I'm hoping the imminent return of Lerick Fernandez to fitness will help us. He's been out for about 2 months now, but we've also lost O'Brien, who was a key player. So the midfield is looking a little bit makeshift. And all in all, we don't look like the same team that we were when we were winning lots of games in a row, even a couple of episodes ago. So we've got Siver 2 in goal, a back four of Webber, Proctor, Colley and Hickman, Phillips as our holding midfielder, Smith and Wolf in midfield, and a front three of Tyler, Evans and Cottrell out on the right-hand side, just to try something a little bit different. I guess there's an argument I could make him an inside forward over there, but actually looking at his role suitability, he's still better off being a winger. So I think we'll leave him as a winger for now, and if it looks like it's not working, we'll switch him to be an inside forward after half an hour or so or something and see if that makes a difference. But I'm kind of clutching at straws a little bit, not really sure what to do. Think we probably need the end of the season to come, but we're not getting players come through on scout reports that would improve our team. So we've got loads of money to spend. We just can't find the players to spend it on because the players that will improve us don't want to come and play part-time football. It's very difficult. So let's passionately say we could move into a playoff spot. That might motivate them a little bit. You can tell I've been playing on my MacBook again. In Mac Football Manager news, I don't know if they've fixed the issue that they had with the game on Macs, but I have now ordered myself a copy of Windows to dual boot on my Mac so that I don't have to keep switching to horrible 2D mode whenever I play on it. But it is the only way to get the game to function on the Mac at the moment for me. And that's troublesome because it's -2 out here in my garage. So for me to sit and play it on my PC, I have to freeze. So if I want to play in the warmth of the house, I have to do it in 2D. And that might be why our form is poor, because it's making me angry having to play 2D. Can't believe I used to prefer it. In other news, I've also run out of coffee, so I'm drinking tea this morning, which that's not helping my temperament. Oh, it's all going wrong. And I think it probably all stems from the lack of coffee in the house. At least I'm wearing my home t-shirt because I still can't fit in the shirt, in the actual replica shirts. I'm too fat for them. But I can wear this one. It's the same size, but clearly different shops size up differently. Right, 0-0 at half-time. This has been the story of our recent matches. We're not scoring goals, he says, with the top scorer in the division on the bench. And I can hear you all saying, we'll play Mick Powell then. The reason we dropped Mick Powell in the first place was that he wasn't scoring enough goals. He had his 30th goal of the season by Christmas. I think he's on 32 goals now and it's nearly March. He's just stopped. His season's work was done by Christmas. He's had enough and packed in, which is why we've signed a player on loan. In fact, did I even show you the guy? I mentioned we've dropped Powell. I haven't shown you the guy we brought in on loan to replace him. That's the lack of coffee. But Jamie Evans is coming on loan for the rest of the season from Barnsley. He's played 6 games for us now. Only started 4 of them, so it's not like I've dropped Mick Powell forever. And, I mean, he should be a decent striker. Theoretically, he's much better than Mick Powell, but not really showing it just yet. But then neither was Mick himself. So we're just, on the whole, struggling a little bit in all areas of the pitch. I think I'm going to take off Tyler. I know he's been injured for most of the match. He picked up that injury about 2 minutes in, but we'll switch Cottrell back over to the left, bring Connor Stanley on, and see if those two can conjure something up for Evans, and if not, Mick Powell is coming on in about 5 minutes' time. So I'm not giving them long to do some conjuring, but Evans is having a terrible game. In fact, he got 3 minutes, and we'll bring Mick Powell on. And we've got the old band back together up front. This is the Northern Premier League classic front three. If this doesn't get the job done, I don't know what will. Colley is tired again. I don't think we have a centre-back on the bench. Colley and fitness is a problem. He's such a good defender, but he's already had 3 2-week holidays this season. He's not had any injuries, but he's played so few games because he's always tired and always going on holiday. I think we might need to start sitting as a centre-back on the bench and taking him off with half an hour to go. Or whenever he drops below 80%, just take him off, rest him up. Because I guarantee I'm going to get a physio report after the match now saying Colley's tired, he needs to go on holiday. And I think he's only back from his most recent holiday less than a month ago. He certainly had a holiday between this episode and the one from yesterday. And that is just a perfect example of how our current form is going. A nothing match where we create nothing. We've not had a shot on target in the entire game. And then they score a long-range screamer right at the end. I mean, they have created more over the course of the game. There's a very strong argument they probably deserve it. But also, we've dominated possession. We've kept the ball nicely whilst creating nothing. To me, it feels like it should have been a draw. But I think we're closing in on the time to maybe switch things back up to the 4-2-3-1 again. The only issue with doing that is we don't really have anyone who can play as the attacking midfielder. We did bring what's his face in the summer, whose name I can't remember, but he got an injury. I think I showed you him in the last episode as a central midfielder who can also play as an attacking midfielder, but he's currently injured as well. I'm disappointed. Yeah, I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. I think we've got to do the 4-2-3-1 in the next game, though, regardless, because this form is, it's pitiful. We haven't scored for, oh God, we haven't scored from open play since then. Oh my word. Well, it was actually Proctor who had to go on a holiday rather than Colley, but either way, we've had to swap up the centre-backs, Carter coming back in, and then I remembered the reason why I don't normally have a centre-back on the bench is because I don't have any more. So we've recalled Emmanuel Diallo to the first team squad. He's a home original from way back when, who hasn't played for us since the Northern Premier League when he only played one game. He's only played 3 games for us ever, but he's our 6th best centre-back, and yeah, so, in fact, 6th best right back, 8th best centre-back. Goody. Oh, I need some defenders. I've needed defenders all season long. And we have switched up to the 4-2-3-1 as well. We had a couple of options to play as the attacking midfielder. Freddie Shepherd, I can't remember who he is. I'll show you him in a second. The other one, who's not available, who was the one I was trying to remember, is Leighton Watts, who, for whatever reason, wasn't showing up on that list. Oh, it's just because he's a central midfielder who's not very good at being an attacking midfielder. Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense. So Freddie Shepherd is the one who's going to play there. He's a 20-year-old with 1.5 star current ability, who we signed at some point this season from Stevenage. I don't remember signing him. He must have come in the summer. And it was obviously with a plan. He's got potential. He might end up being any good. I don't know if he's the man to come into the team and change things up massively for us. I want him to be an attacking midfielder, actually, I think, rather than a playmaker, if we've got Wolf playing as a playmaker in midfield. But this is the reshaped team. We're going with Sivota in goal, a back four of Webber, Carter, Colley and Hickman, Hornshaw and Wolf as our midfield two, Tyler, Shepherd and Cottrell behind Evans, as we attempt again to score a goal. Scoring a goal would be a lovely thing if it's something we could achieve ideally by the end of the season. It would be nice to do it today, but let's not get carried away. If we don't score a goal today, let's just try and get at least one more goal before the end of the season. So that's aggressive. No, we can't aggressively say we've failed to score in our last 3 games against Harrogate. And Harrogate have failed on 4 occasions. Wow. So this has got 0-0 written all over it. Yikes. I don't know what to do. If Shepherd doesn't work, Nick Powell's coming on for him at half time, and we're going to try a 4-2-4. It's a system I've never really liked in Football Manager because it just seems to leave the midfield massively exposed. But for whatever reason, in this year's version of the game, wingers only seem to be able to play as wingers rather than as wide midfielders. If you try and drop them back into midfield, at least the kind of wingers that I bring in, and it's an issue we had at St Albans, I remember, in Non-League to Legend. But the wingers who are good wingers, who look good in a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, can't play wide in a 4-4-2, at least according to the position suitability thing. So it causes selection problems because theoretically, Cottrell, Tyler, Stanley, none of them can play on a 4-4-2, so we have to push to a 4-2-4 to get them into their best positions. But then the midfield just are completely exposed. And, as expected, no goals in that first half. Yeah. Oh, no, I didn't mean to say without pressure. I meant to put pressure on. I want pressure. Right, let's do what I said I was going to do. We're going to bring Nick Powell on. And we're going to try this. And we're going to stick Nick Powell back to being a poacher. It's been a long time. But poacher Powell alongside an advanced forward who's better than him, that has good memories attached to it from back in the day when we used to do the diamond with Harris and Powell up front. So maybe it'll work. We always used to do it as a diamond, but we don't have an attacking midfielder to make a diamond work, so perhaps it'll work with wingers. Cottrell now, playing as an inside forward, possibly with 2 strikers up, needs to switch things up. Nick Powell's got it in the back of the net, but it's offside. That's the closest we've got to a goal since I was clean shaven. So this is a positive. Right, I think I'm going to take off either Tyler or Cottrell and bring on Connor Stanley fairly soon. Here is Tyler. Tyler plays it forward. I don't know why I'm coughing so much today. I think it's a lack of coffee. I'm not ill anymore, I promise, but I still keep coughing. Collie plays it forward to Wolf. Wolf to Cottrell. Cottrell now plays Powell in. Powell is in and Mick Powell scores. Number 32 of the season for Mick Powell. He hadn't even scored as many as I thought, so he got his 30th goal around Christmas time, and it's now March and he's just got his 32nd. That shows the barren spell Mick Powell has been in, but perhaps this is what he needs. Perhaps the 4-2-4 is going to be the system that drags us kicking and screaming towards the end of the season. And hopefully the return of Anthony Harris at some point. He's on loan at Southend at the moment from Norwich, by the way. I do keep an eye on him and would love to bring him back. Did try to bring him back as soon as the loan offer from Southend went in. I'm obviously there straight away. Don't go there, come here. But he wasn't having any of it. He's gone to play for Southend. But the fact that he's now being loaned out to lower division clubs suggests he's maybe not going to make the grade at Norwich. And there might be an opportunity at some point to bring him back. Remember, he's still only 20 years old. So it's not a Levi Potton situation where when he eventually comes back, he's past it and we may as well have not brought him back in. If we manage to get Anthony Harris back at any point in the next 7 or 8 seasons, we're going to be getting a player close to his prime. So I'm definitely keeping tabs on him. I am certain he will return at some point. Less certain about Dean Morris, who's playing regularly, I think, for Preston in the Championship. So I think Dean Morris is probably always going to be a little bit beyond our reach. Hayden Carter makes it 2-0 and we're finally going to win a game, I think. Right, let's start looking up in the league again. We've got 7 games left and we're 2 points outside of the playoffs. If this system is a system that can actually work, the 4-2-4, and not just a 1-game fluke, then maybe, just maybe, we can have that late playoff push after all, get promoted and sign Anthony Harris next season. Imagine that. Oh, the mood swings we have on these videos sometimes. But I'm happier than my face would tell you. If I smile, I'll cough. I'm happier than I look at the fact we've just managed to pick up a win for the first time in goodness knows how long. And now we just need to try and turn that into a run of form and force our way into the playoffs for the end of the season. Let's have a little look at the fixture list. I'm pretty sure tomorrow we're going to be back with the last 2 games of the season. I don't think there's anything else between now and then that you need to see. So, schedule... Yeah, we're just going to be back with Barnet and Salford tomorrow and hopefully be in with an opportunity of forcing our way into the playoffs and have a nice little playoff party on what will be Sunday. A Sunday playoff party. What more could you want? If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.